Welcome to Flourish, where we explore how to nurture, coach, and inspire children for success and let their genius blossom. I'm your host, Diane Planidin, and I wanted to talk about respect today. And I'm going to start with a quote from William James. He says, "The deepest principle of human nature is the craving to be appreciated." Well, that really boils down to respect, doesn't it? It can be shown in many different ways. And that is why last week I spoke very passionately about the importance of words us adults use, and especially when we're communicating to children. Respect, by definition, I looked this up on Wikipedia, is a positive feeling or action shown towards someone or something considered important or held in high esteem or regard. It conveys a sense of admiration for good or valuable qualities. I like that word, qualities. And it is also the process of honoring someone by exhibiting care, concern, or consideration for their needs or feelings. Yeah, I found that to be the most complete definition, straightforward, concise. I did paraphrase a little bit, but I think I'm getting the meaning across. So, what does that look like to you? How do you show respect, which in turn should ultimately result in a mirrored response? What do I mean by that? Well, as a parent or a teacher or even a supervisor of an employee, how are you showing consideration, admiration, and esteem for your children, students, or employees? Who starts? Who begins the process of earning respect? I would like to suggest you can start at home. It's a good place to practice. Why not? And it hopefully happens when you have a child and you have a reciprocal relationship with them as a parent. What do I mean by that? Well, that how you act towards a person will create a response that mirrors your own. Emotions are very, very contagious. And if you want positive response, well, sorry, you're gonna have to act positive now, aren't you? Unfortunately, some people expect that when they are a parent or a person in a powerful, influential position, that they should just be respected. Just because who they are or who they think they are. I don't know. Sounds a bit overbearing, doesn't it? Actually, it sounds archaic. We are not in the feudal system. Understand that there is a fine line between respecting someone because of their knowledge and wisdom that they share to respecting someone who expects it because of their position or just because they are a parent. I mean, what do you want? Let's have a reciprocal arrangement here with our children and mirror the image that we want them to emulate. We no longer are ruled by a privileged society. So why do people still blur the lines? I wanted to give you something to think about. Something to think about when you're interacting with others, especially children, who, let's face it, they really look to adults for guidance. So think of them as your protege. Think of them as how you would like to be seen. Since acronyms are so popular these days, I thought, well, I'm going to use the respect word as an acronym to take a closer look at the subject, and hopefully as a helpful reminder, a little shortcut for you when you're trying to think of something. It helps me. So we'll see. I love to share. I love to share these ideas and thoughts because I do have a genuine interest here in being authentic and to reach out. So if you like these ideas, please let me know, or put a comment out there, or, even better, subscribe and share the show. I would absolutely love that. But these are not just my ideas. I share a lot of ideas from others, and honestly, it's for the greater good. So let's get started with respect. R. R is for reward. Yes, I am beginning with the end result in mind. You see, to feel appreciated, we all love some type of reward. To feel heard and seen, we want that acknowledgement. We want to have an idea of the reward that follows the action. Rather than cause and effect, you're causing the effect. I hope that makes sense. An action should be measured in some way, and it doesn't have to be monetary, honestly. It could be simply, I'm going to feel amazing once I finish that. I'm going to jump for joy once I finish. There is a reason people like to be acknowledged. It builds confidence and provides support to keep moving forward. I'll get back to that. E. Emotion. I mentioned we are emotional creatures now, didn't I? And that's a big one. That is, because that is how we first learn to communicate. Before we learn our first words, we're dealing with not only body language, but emotions and crying out for help or food or care. I think that's quite powerful. So, but we don't only feel emotion in ourselves. It's contagious. We can sense how another person is feeling, even before they say anything. When we allow emotions to override our thinking, that's when the record player in our mind keeps skipping. That's when you need to dig in deeper and remind yourself that those you impact, well, they're not going to forget it. And that's where my other rule of 90 seconds to success really comes in handy. And it has a very calming effect. And if you miss that episode, well, it's worth a listen. Then we get to S, stop. Yes, stop. I could have used so many other words for this one, but just stop, look, listen. Baby steps clearly define actions. And I want to clarify a little bit about baby steps, because it's not that you are a baby, and it's not like I'm treating you like a kid. It's an analogy, like little steps, one step at a time. And you'll notice a difference. So no barking out there, please. We are humans. We are not dogs. We do not need to be yelled at. Just stop. Do not demand attention. Command attention. And you can do that respectively by being, curious, inquisitive, and then you can digest and Silence. That's another good one. Take a look at the other person's body language, especially if it's your child. They don't control that. Then you can really feel their emotions and carefully listen. And then carefully listen to their words. This is actually more difficult than you would think. This is difficult because the longer we are learning, the more habits we seem to form. So if you have a habit of interrupting, of sharing your thoughts before the other person's finished talking because you really want to get out your opinion, that's something you can learn to curtail. So just stop. Stop. Silence is also a wonderful, powerful way of communicating. And observation will tell you when the appropriate time is to respond. Stop. I really like that. P is for patience. Some people don't like that word, patience, but you know what? It's all encompassing because patience also means time, that precious commodity that we all have the same amount of. Doesn't matter who you are. Your child, your student, your employee, they want your time. They want to be like you. They look up to you. And even if you feel you haven't earned respect, there is a layer there that you need to live up to their standards because they want to be like you and they want to learn from the master. And you should be flattered. Yeah, because as soon as you have shared your knowledge, they will need to eventually move on in order to continue to grow and learn. So take the time and use patience to provide them with the clarity, which means if you bring clarity to a situation, you help people see what really happened by clearing up any misunderstandings or giving any explanations. That takes patience. E, empathy. Well, empathy, gratitude, understanding. Bring out the best in others. Be the Mr. Miaygi to your Grasshopper. If you've never seen The Karate Kid, see the first movie. It is so powerful. And then learn to let those sponges, whether large or small, old or young, absorb your essence as their leader, as their mentor. Lead by example. Empathy is when you put yourself in another person's shoes, in their place, and then you'll understand how they're feeling. It's important because that will keep everything in perspective and help you. Common sense is observed and remembered best when you can feel it. Show you care with compassion and empathy. See, celebrate. Celebrate often. Choose to acknowledge the wins, the success. Give yourself a pat on the back because the fiascos, the fizzles, the flops, those will happen all on their own. You know, you just kind of go with the flow, but learn from that and persist by knowing how great the next celebration will be. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Albert Einstein. Collaborate with confidence and remember to give yourself a pat on the back. A little whoop whoop. You're amazing. Well done. Well done. Celebrate the victories. It's important. T is for treasure. Yes, treasure those moments. Trust. I'm going to throw that in there a little bit because we're actually going to talk about that in a couple of weeks. But precious moments. I spoke earlier of the mirror image response you are creating in others. And the words of wisdom from Deepak Chopra. The reality you experience is a mirror image of your expectations. Really think about that and treasure every living, breathing moment you have before your protege needs to move on. It's real. So there you have a formula for respect and a few ideas on how to set the foundation and build the rapport to create the mirror images. Do not underestimate people, especially not children. They do not lack capacity. They lack teachers and mentors that have the right message and knowledge and wisdom to share. Melanie Klein said it best. One of the many interesting and surprising experiences of the beginner in child analysis is to find in even very young children a capacity for insight, which is often far greater than that of adults. So let's get this right from day one, from birth. Because if you grow up and continue with the negative, it's going to segue into your adulthood. It's going to segue into your career. And I'm not making this up, because according to the Center for Creative Leadership, great papers on that site, by the way, and a lot of very knowledgeable wisdom shared. But the number one reason, and I'm saying this because adults are listening to this show and it'll completely bring it together. The number one reason for executive failure was an insensitive, abrasive, or bullying style. Because if you're a mean person, a mean parent, a mean boss, a mean teacher, educator, if you're mean, one day, just one day, when you need someone to have your back, they're not going to be there. So that's a paper based on the findings of McCall and Lombardo, and I think it's about 500 pages. It's a big read, but really, the gist of it was set the foundation in the beginning, because we are all born with a gift. We're all born with purpose. Life's journey is to hone and develop that gift as purpose changes within. And try the RESPECT acronym. Reward equals acknowledgement. Emotion equals calmness. Stop equals silence. Patience, well, that equals clarity. Empathy, put yourself in their shoes. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel that emotion. Celebrate. Whoop, whoop. Pat on the back. Let's do it. And treasure each moment in time. Oh, so precious. Which reminds me, I should be giving a shout out to Nicholas for the music composition of the show. I absolutely adore it. Thank you so much. But I am going to admit right here now, in preparation for this show, my jam was the one and only Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul and self-empowerment. Oh my gosh, powerful woman. And that was my jam, Nicholas, I'm sorry to say. But she exuded so much passion and energy and joie de vivre, full of life. So, Respect, well, is also one of those songs that's been given the chills, well, since 1967, right? So what's your jam? What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you hopping? Live well, my friends. Just a little bit.